Imagine this. It's Friday evening. You just finished another long work week. You check your phone, look at your bank account, and something feels off. You worked all week. You showed up every day. You did everything you were supposed to do. So why does it still feel like your money disappears the moment you earn it? Here's a strange question. Do you actually know how much you earn per hour? Most people think they do. Maybe it's $20 an hour, maybe $30, maybe $40. But what if that number is completely wrong? What if after you subtract the hidden costs of working, taxes, commuting, convenience spending, and the time your job quietly steals from your life, your real hourly wage is dramatically lower than you think? For many people, the number is not $30. It's closer to $10, sometimes even less. And the shocking part is that most people never calculate it. From the moment we graduate school, we are taught to focus on salary. How much does the job pay? That's the question everyone asks, but almost nobody asks a more important question. How much does the job actually cost? Because earning money is not free. It comes with expenses, and those expenses quietly eat away at your income. Think about your average workday. You wake up early. You get dressed for work. You commute. You buy coffee because you're tired. You buy lunch because you didn't have time to cook. Then at night, you're exhausted, so you order food or buy something that makes you feel a little better. Individually, none of these things seem like a big deal, but together they form a system that drains thousands of dollars every year. Let's start with one of the biggest hidden costs of having a job: the commute. For millions of people, the workday doesn't begin at the office. It begins in traffic. 30 minutes driving to work, 30 minutes driving home. That's 1 hour every day, 5 hours every week, over 200 hours every year. That's more than an entire month of full-time work spent just getting to the place where you work, and that's only the time. Now think about the financial cost: gas, car maintenance, insurance, parking, the slow wear and tear on your vehicle. For many workers, commuting costs several $1,000s per year, and here's the key point. If the job didn't exist, neither would that expense. But commuting is only the beginning. Another hidden cost is something almost everyone experiences: convenience spending. After a long workday, most people feel drained. Cooking feels like effort. Cleaning feels like work. Even deciding what to eat feels exhausting. So people choose convenience. They order food, they grab coffee, they buy lunch. These purchases feel small: $5 for coffee, $12 for lunch, $25 for dinner delivery. But habits repeated every day quietly become expensive. $5 of coffee every workday becomes over $1,000 per year. Buying lunch during the week can easily add another $2,000 or $3,000. Ordering dinner a few nights per week might add several thousand more. Suddenly, a person might be spending $6,000 or $7,000 per year simply because their work schedule makes normal life tasks harder. And that brings us to another category people rarely talk about: stress spending. This is the money people spend not because they need something, but because they need relief. Work stress builds up over time: deadlines, meetings, emails, pressure. Eventually, people look for ways to escape that feeling, so they go out for drinks, they book short trips, they buy things online, retail therapy, weekend spending, impulse purchases. Individually, these decisions feel justified. After all, people say the same phrase every time: I deserve this. But when those purchases repeat every week or every month, the cost becomes significant. A few nights out, some online shopping, a spontaneous vacation. Over the course of a year, these stress-driven expenses can easily reach several $1,000s. And the irony is that many of these purchases exist mainly because the job itself creates stress. So when you combine commuting costs, convenience spending, stress spending, and taxes, the salary number starts shrinking very quickly. But there is still one factor that matters even more than money: time. Most jobs claim they require 40 hours per week, but if you look closely, the real number is usually much higher. Think about the full routine. You wake up early to prepare for work. You commute. You spend the entire day at the office. You commute back home. Then you spend time mentally recovering from the day. Maybe you scroll on your phone. Maybe you watch something just to relax. Maybe you complain about work to a friend or partner. And sometimes you check emails or think about tomorrow's tasks. When you add everything together, the job doesn't just take 40 hours. It often consumes 55 or even 60 hours of your week. Not just working, but supporting the work. That difference changes the math completely because hourly wage is calculated using two numbers: money earned and time spent. If the time increases but the money stays the same, the real wage drops. A job that looks like it pays $30 per hour might actually feel closer to 15 once you include commuting, preparation, and recovery time. In some cases, the real number can fall even lower. This realization can be uncomfortable, but it can also be incredibly powerful. Because once you understand the real value of your time, the way you think about spending begins to change. Instead of seeing prices in dollars, you start seeing them in hours of your life. A $100 purchase stops being just a number. It becomes several hours of work, several hours of commuting, several hours of your time. And when you start thinking this way, many purchases suddenly feel very different. Because money can always be earned again, time cannot. Understanding this idea doesn't mean you should quit your job tomorrow. Most people need income, and that's completely normal. The goal is awareness. Because once you understand the true cost of working, you can start improving your situation. Small changes can dramatically increase your real hourly wage. Cooking more meals at home can save thousands of dollars each year. Working remotely even a few days per week can eliminate hours of commuting. Living closer to work can return hundreds of hours to your life. Reducing unnecessary spending increases the gap between what you earn and what you spend. And that gap is where financial freedom begins. The larger the gap becomes, the more options you have. You can save more. You can invest more. You can reduce financial stress. And over time, something interesting starts to happen. Instead of constantly trading time for money, your money begins working for you. Investments grow, savings increase, and eventually the pressure to trade every hour for income starts to decrease. But the first step toward that future is simple: understanding your real hourly wage, not the number printed on your salary, the number that remains after taxes, expenses, time, and stress. Because once you see that number clearly, it changes the way you look at every purchase you make. And once you start thinking about money in terms of time, you begin making decisions that protect both. And that is one of the most powerful financial mindset shifts a person can have. So the next time you receive a paycheck, don't just look at the total. Ask yourself a better question: how much of my life did this money actually cost? Because once you know that answer, you'll never look at your income the same way again. And now I'm curious about something. What do you think is the biggest hidden cost of having a job today? Is it commuting, convenience spending, stress spending, or something else people rarely notice? Think about it.